Kyiv.
My brother and I were too young to remember much of our refugee experience. But our father watches today as cities and towns in Ukraine that he helped build are being torn down to the ground by the same evil forces that pushed him to bring our family to the United States. He sees himself and our family in the images of the Ukrainian people. So today, the Statue of Liberty is more complicated for us than it was that day on the boardwalk 37 years ago.
Those are the twin brothers, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman and Colonel Yevgeny Vindman, in a new opinion video published by the New York Times. Both, as you know, were born in Ukraine, then a part of the Soviet Union. And in the new short piece, the Vindmans say the refugee crises in Ukraine and elsewhere demand a stronger response from the Biden administration. And Alexander and Yevgeny Vindman join us now. Gentlemen, it's great to have you with us. I think before we dig into what you're talking about in this opinion video about the refugee crisis in Ukraine, it's important to take a step back and remind people, Colonel Vindman, Alexander Vindman, I'll start with you, of your own story, of how you came to this country, what drove you out of the Soviet Union, the Ukraine of today, and why this issue of refugees is so important to you.
Yeah, we came here as 4-year-olds because our father believed in the American dream, in the promise of an America with unlimited opportunities. In fact, the video itself is a little bit of a representation of where we are today in 2022, a Janus-faced American society where there is still a huge amount of promise that I believe in deeply, but also with deep challenges, including what we've been talking about this morning with regards to gun violence, kind of a nihilistic death cult being enabled by the former president, Trump, and far-right parties. And it's a mixed story of that kind of tragedy, but also the promise of a more perfect union, represented by, you know, our kind of our hopes for when our father brought us here, but also certainly for our children and the kind of America we want to live in. That's what we committed to public service for 2 decades or more.
And Yevgeny, you came here, as your brother says, at a very young age, at 4. But as you grew up, what was your experience as a refugee? What was your experience as an immigrant in the United States? And how do you believe that is a different experience for a refugee trying to come here now?
Well, first of all, Willie, thanks for having us here today. It's a real treat for me to be on the show with Alex. And, you know, our refugee experience 42 years ago, we came very young. Our dad bore the full brunt of the refugee experience, not speaking the language, having to come to a brand new country with a young family, hauling furniture for $20 a day until he learned enough English to become a New York City engineer and really start a new life. For us, we were very young, we were very resilient, just like many of the young refugees and immigrants that come to the country. And we are really able to build a future for ourselves on par with anybody else that grows up in the country. The situation today is really not, in many ways, not any different than it used to be for refugees. It's a difficult process, but it's one filled with hope. And it's about a new life and a new beginning. And the climate, perhaps, back then was a little bit easier. I think the year that we came, 240,000 refugees were accepted into the country. Now the refugee ceiling, under the previous administration, was reduced to 15,000, raised certainly by the current administration, which is fantastic. But a lot of the infrastructure to support refugees was eviscerated. And so that's the part that really needs to be rebuilt.
Yevgeny mentioned his father. Here's another short clip from that video talking about the journey that the Vindman's dad made to America.
Yev and I were 4 years old. Our father had $759 in his pocket when he arrived in the United States. He hauled furniture for $20 a day, learned English, and soon enough he became a New York City engineer. He worked to support his 3 sons, and each of us would go on to serve our country in the military.
Alex and I have come to see immigrants and refugees as a source of strength, bolstering our national security.
So, Colonel Alexander Vindman, where do you believe we can do better? Where are the places that the United States can expand its reach to refugees, specifically now as we look at the war in your home country and all of those people, 4 million of them who've gone to Poland, many million more displaced internally looking for new homes? What should and what can the United States do here?
We first need to recognize the strength of refugees and immigrants for this country. This is a country of refugees. Each one of us could trace back our lineage to an immigration story somewhere in the recent past or the distant past. We need to accept that it's a strength for the American population and recognize that there is an opportunity to add to our strength here by bringing in new blood, bringing in new populations. That certainly is the case with these temporary parolees, the 100,000 that are being welcomed in for a respite from war. We should revamp our immigration policy to make sure that there are basic services that allow families to come here and for children to prosper and to grow up and to commit to public service and to add to America's strength. And we should just remember that each one of us has a story. Almost none of us came from the U.S. That takes us back to a different far-off land. And for decades, for generations, we've been able to come together all as one and as Americans with shared values, shared interests. It might take a little while, a little bit of assimilation, acculturation. It might take a generation, but that's the way this country has been built. Right now, we don't welcome immigrants and refugees. That's something that I would hope to see change moving forward.
Colonel Yevgeny Vindman, obviously lots of refugees being forced from their country, their home country of Ukraine, because of the war. Just wanted to get your sense as to how things are going right now in terms of those refugees finding homes elsewhere, even if not the U.S. just yet, but also that state of the conflict with both sides taking heavy losses, the Ukrainians resisting Russia's initial assault on Kyiv, of course, but Russia now making some slow, grinding progress in the east.
Yeah, so, I mean, just following up on what Alex said, the system accepts refugees in a parole status, but what happens is when refugees get here, they don't have the ability to work frequently, and the process to get work permits takes many months. So the families that arrive here need to have a method of supporting themselves so they're not on some other assistance. The United States is accepting refugees, but really a small fraction of what countries like Poland and Romania and other Western European countries and Central European countries are accepting. And in all of these countries, there needs to be a mechanism for refugees in order to be able to support their families and not live on assistance in order to be able to build new lives. And this refugee crisis is a little bit interesting and maybe odd, and we'll see how it plays out in the end. It depends on how long the war is. But many of the refugees state that their intent to go back to Ukraine. And so these are just temporary residences in many cases, but with a need to support their families. As far as the war,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, as far as the way the war is going now, I mean, clearly it looks like it's gone into a new phase where it's going to be a grinding, more protracted conflict, and that will certainly affect refugees and the ability of refugees to return to Ukraine. But it's a conflict that must be won, that Ukraine must win that conflict in order to preserve a sort of an international rules-based order that Russia is destroying now. So they need our full support. They need timely support, and on the humanitarian side as well as the military side.
And as you know, the United States has pledged another $820 million just last week toward that effort. Colonels Alexander and Yevgeny Vindman, thank you both for your service to the country, and thank you for bringing us your story. The new opinion video is online, thenewyorktimes.com. Gentlemen, thank you.